The objective of the game is to have the lowest total and be the player who calls for the meal reveal.
Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel RealmO'Games. Today I'm here with What's for Dinner from Skillmatics, a game that blends memory, strategy and a dash of chaos. This game challenges you to remember your card values, swap or discard wisely and outsmart your opponents, all with one clear goal: end the round with the lowest total sum to win. This game is similar to Ask, Duke, Knock. It's simple to learn, super fun and full of surprises. Now let's see how to play this game. Let's go.
Shuffle the deck and deal 4 cards face down to each player. Place the remaining cards in the center as the drop pile. The objective of the game is to have the lowest total score among all players. Starting with the youngest player, play moves clockwise. At the beginning of the game, each player looks at their bottom 2 cards only. Players should try to remember their cards. Memory is key in this game. On their turn, a player draws 1 card from the draw pile and looks at it. The player has 2 choices: keep it or discard it. If the drawn card has a lower value, the player may choose to swap it with one of their 4 face-down cards, ideally replacing a higher value card without looking at it, and place a new card in the same position as the old one. The card that was replaced is placed in the center as discard pile. Here, the player remembers a card is 9 and draws a 6, so swaps it to reduce the total. The player places it directly in the center if it happens to be a higher value card. If it is an action card, its power can be used and discarded. These are high value cards from 7 to 12 with special powers. They are best used for their abilities and then discarded, rather than kept among the player's 4 cards, unless the player does not already hold a higher card value. For example, if a 7 is drawn but the player has a 12 in hand. Also, action cards can be used only if the card played in the center is the one just drawn from the draw pile, not from the player's existing 4 cards. Let's now look at the different action cards. If a player draws a 7, they can secretly check one of their own cards. This is useful for recalling or checking a card when you're unsure of its value. The same rule applies for the 8 card as well. This card allows the player to secretly look at one card from another player, helping to gather information about opponent's cards. If this card is drawn, a player can discard any one card of their choice, helping to lower the total value. This is useful for removing a high value card without drawing a replacement. Player may look at another player's card and swap it with one of their own but cannot look at their own card. It's a good way to exchange a high value card for a lower one. If a 12 is drawn, a player can look at all their own cards secretly. This helps to plan the future moves with full visibility. If a card is played in the center and a player remembers they have the same number, they can quickly place their card on top. Only one player can do this, so players must act quickly. If delayed, placing the card back may reveal the number to others. If a player knows another player has the same number from the sender and that player does not remember, they may take that card and play it to the sender. Then give one of their own cards without looking to that player, ideally a higher value card. If a player picks a card which is their own or another player's and happens to be incorrect, the card is returned face down to its original position and the player then draws one extra card as penalty. Here, the player has a 6 on the left but plays an 8 on the right. This move is incorrect, so the card is returned to its original position and the player draws one card as penalty. When a player believes they have the lowest score, they say meal reveal. Then all players flip their cards and add the total. If correct, that player scores 0 and others score their totals. If wrong, that is equal or greater than other players, that player gets a plus 10 penalty. Here, player 1 remembers having the same value card and quickly discards it. Player 2 decides to use the power of the action card to secretly sneak a card from another player. Player 3 uses the power of action card 12 to see all 4 cards. As the goal is to keep the total score as low as possible, remembering card values is key. So replace or swap wisely and discard higher value cards. Multiple rounds can be played. Decide an end point in advance. Example, first player to reach 50 points. Then that player loses and the player with the lowest total score across round wins. At the beginning, each player looks at their bottom 2 cards only once. After that, no peeking unless an action card allows it. On each turn, the player draws one card first, then decides whether to replace one of their cards or discard it to the sender. The power of the action cards can be used only if the card was just drawn. Cards already in hand cannot be used for their powers. Once a player replaces or swaps a card, the move is final. It cannot be reversed. If a matching number is played in the sender, players must discard their card quickly. Only the fastest player gets to pair their matching card. If a player adds a wrong card on top, they must draw one extra card as a penalty. If a player calls meal reveal and does not have the lowest score, they receive a plus 10 penalty.
And that's how you play What's for Dinner. Whether you swap smartly, remembered wisely, or just got lucky, the fun lies in the laughter and surprises along the way. So clear the table, shuffle the deck, and get ready for another round of What's for Dinner. If you found this video useful, please don't forget to show some love through liking, sharing, and subscribing to my channel for more fun games. Happy game, folks. Goodbye.